I just looked at Terence Crawford's latest video. Terence Crawford, 20 pounds of muscle, my ass. Terence Crawford looks finished. And I knew that was going to happen because Terence Crawford's metabolism and its frame. You got him walking around maybe close to 180 or something like that. But as he works out, his body's going to do what it does. It's going to get lean. And I think it benefits Terence Crawford. Actually, we don't want him stepping in the ring going up to 180. I think it just hinders him. Right? When Floyd Mayweather was fighting at 154, he never weighed in at 154. He weighed in at what was most comfortable for him because 154 is the limit. Terence Bud Crawford, if he gets on the scale and he doesn't weigh quite 168, I think it's actually for his benefit. What he has going for him comes with him being smaller, actually. People talk about his speed, talking about his foot speed, hand speed, talking about all those things, his reflexes and all those things. That comes from what we've seen of him from 147 South.
The boxing world is split right down the middle. Mike Tyson, Zab Judah, Tim Bradley. They're all talking about the same thing. Can Terence Crawford really move up, take on the Mexican monster, and beat Canelo Alvarez? Some say it's impossible. Others say he's about to shock the world. And after what Jermall Charlo just revealed about Canelo's power, you need to hear this. Jermall Charlo's recent comments about Canelo Alvarez have sent shockwaves through boxing.
Just power, and Canelo is a guy that has power but is constantly working on it. There's a great clip of him working with Andy Ruiz. You know that shield, that weird hand shield they hold up for hooks?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is not for speed. This is just power, just power. He's like, don't try to be fast with this, just power. And he's seeing that.
After losing to the Mexican superstar in 2023, Charlo was brutally honest. When asked about Canelo's punching power, he used just 3 words: a mothering beast. For a man who has faced many elite fighters, that statement speaks volumes. Charlo admitted he had never felt a punch like Canelo's before. And for the first time in his career, he was left dizzy.
All right, my brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I gotta get massive, I gotta get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. It didn't feel like the Jermall Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harris. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as that. You wanna get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're gonna see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all gotta think about it like
Big for Crawford.
The money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terence Crawford.
Now, attention shifts to Canelo's next big challenge: Terence Bud Crawford in Las Vegas. Crawford's journey from lightweight to welterweight, and now potentially super middleweight, has the boxing world debating. Can his skill and ring IQ overcome Canelo's size and power?
Jermall did give Crawford props. I favor Canelo, not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, I think the skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up. This guy's running. I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Jermall did give Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different.
Boxing veteran Corin Davis believes Crawford's mental toughness and smart approach to gaining weight mean the size gap might not be as big an issue as people think.
With Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. But then you got Crawford, he got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody.
Richardson Hitchens shares a similar view. While he doesn't predict a knockout, he says Crawford's slick movement, adaptability, and sharp intelligence could frustrate Canelo, preventing him from landing his biggest punches.
Terence Crawford is one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. Switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be something different for
Mike Tyson, who knows what makes champions great, believes mindset is the real difference maker. He says Crawford's heart, resilience, and mental focus can overcome Canelo's physical advantages.
Fight, is it maybe the weight too much for Terence Crawford?
There's been men that beat people like Armstrong and McLaren and these guys. They're beating people bigger than them, 2 divisions bigger than them. It's not impossible, Henry Armstrong's a featherweight and he beat the middleweight champ. At 130 pounds, he beat the welterweight champ. Then he fought a draw with the middleweight champ. So I think size means nothing.
Former champion Zab Judah goes even further, predicting Crawford could actually stop Canelo. He points to Crawford's speed, reflexes, and ability to think faster than his opponent as the keys to victory.
Canelo and Crawford.
No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big bud. Big bud. We're going to have to throw Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, for his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen him stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops him. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that?
Caleb Plant offers a balanced view, saying this fight is about more than size or raw talent. It's about mental strength. Both men bring unique skills. Canelo's power and experience versus Crawford's adaptability and sharpness.
Not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, be able to find out firsthand.
Stephen A. Smith believes Crawford's footwork will be crucial. If Crawford stays light on his feet and avoids Canelo's power punches, Smith thinks he could pull off an upset.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love
boxing.
Who
gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up. The biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready. He's always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because
Kelly Pavlik warns that Crawford's lack of experience against bigger fighters could be an issue. Still, he says Crawford can win if he uses speed, footwork, and ring IQ to control the pace.
Or making picks, and I'm usually pretty good on all my picks, even when I had the podcast. But sometimes because people look for that fighter, that former world champion, and they like want to pick them apart if they get it wrong. This is one of the fights where I want to sit back and watch and not worry about my pick. Canelo is a small middleweight, super middleweight. He just is. But he's also showed that he could go up in weight class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, yeah, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200, probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on that because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode, pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean.
Pavlik also gives tactical advice. Apply early pressure to drain Canelo's energy. If Canelo slows down late, Crawford could take over and win on points or by stoppage.
Put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds. Because when Canelo has to fight, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. When Canelo could control the fight and the ring generalship, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance-wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in it a little bit on, the early rounds and make him have to play catch-up in rounds 3, 4, 5, and then by round.
Bradley says Canelo's recent performances show he's vulnerable. Bradley believes Crawford's boxing skills will let him control the fight, even if Canelo tries to turn it into a brawl.
Into a slugfest.
One more thing. It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right. They ain't been like, wow, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Nick DeConte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they're testing, I'm good.
Shannon Briggs is confident in Crawford's chances. He highlights Crawford's ability to fight in both stances and his technical brilliance as weapons. That could lead to an upset.
I got Crawford by stoppage, and I've known him since he was a little kid, 12 years old. So to see him now fighting for a title in such a big fight, it's a great experience, great to see.
Last question for me then. How do you think Crawford stops him? How do you think he's able to work Canelo enough for him to stop the fight, knock him down? How do you think this is possible by Crawford style?
He gonna box him. He can fight both ways. He gonna trick him up. One thing Canelo showed is that he could be outboxed. But I think this time in the late rounds, I think
is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated events in boxing. Whether it's Canelo's brute strength or Crawford's technical brilliance, the world will be watching closely to see who comes out on top.